baseball, we were in the middle of our season. And actually, we were in the first half of the season. And so we had high hopes, high expectations, got off to a really good start, fighting through the cold weather and looking forward to a beautiful spring. And COVID and the NCAA shut down our season. So as a leader, as leaders, we all have to deal with adversity, and it's an opportunity to grow. And I had to look 35 kids, college kids with dreams, goals, aspirations, and I had to share with them that their season was coming to an end. And so I shared this message with them just about a month or two ago when it came out. And then I'll revert back to kind of what we did during the spring lockdown and how we still came out on top. But I think this is a great message. This is Gino Auriemma. He's the legendary women's hoop coach at UConn. And we know good women's basketball here in Louisville with our program. So he's got great words that I think pertain to all of us. I've got two boys in college. I had a senior in high school last year who he is exactly talking to. But we can all take something from this message. So hopefully you can hear this short 1-minute clip.
I feel like today, we always hear stories about how our grandparents and even our parents had a harder life than us. And I think in some way, they wanted to be better for us by providing us with the things they didn't have growing up. Toning it down with today's kids sounds like Coach Burrell and possibly other coaches and people around society feel that we are too soft because of how we were raised and the things, listen now, that make us comfortable that actually disable us. This will be your defining moment that you'll tell your kids and your grandkids, hey, you're not going to believe this? I missed my graduation. Why? Oh, let me tell you. And then you'll be able to tell them, this is what I did during that time. What I do? I sat home in my pajamas. Or what? I started to figure things out. What can I do to make it better? This is an uncomfortable time. These are uncomfortable things that have to be done right now. You are living in uncomfortable times. So in some sense, you are living in the greatest time of your life. It's great to be uncomfortable because that's when you find out just how great you can really be.
And we use that similar phrase often that, our phrase is be comfortable being uncomfortable. Like get used to uncomfortable situations, embrace them, and learn how to grow through them. So my challenge last spring was we still have goals in place. We can't achieve all of our goals, but I went into my coach mode, my Dr. Elko mode. I talked about no self-pity. As he mentioned, laying around in pajamas, I said, guys, we can't crawl in a corner and live in self-pity. That's not going to help us. We have things we need to do academically. We still have things to do athletically. And, now if you're home with your family, you have a community that you can help. And so I challenged our guys to, as we like to say, finish. And we did in the spring semester. So even though we got taken off campus and kids were taken out of class and everything became virtual, all we did was achieve the highest team GPA in my 29 years of coaching. And I was really proud of how well we did in the classroom, how we were able to make the adjustment to the world of virtual classes and being on the internet. And we did that. We were number one in the community for community service going into COVID. And so we really couldn't do much at that point other than me challenging them, hey guys, help your families and help the communities that you're in. But leading up to that, we were number one in the country. That this is the number one baseball program in the country for community service hours. And a part of that is, as I talked about, Middletown and me growing up, me raising my kids in this area. I really want kids, when they come to Louisville, I want them to feel a part of this community. And so whether it's Gilda's Club, St. Joseph's Orphanage, the Miracle League, Cosair Children's Hospital, the Susan G. Komen Walk. Like, I want kids, whether they're from this community or I have them from Chicago and Wisconsin and Indiana and Ohio. I want them, when they spend 3 or 4 years in Louisville, I want them to connect with the community. I want them to give back. I want them to love on this community, because this community has loved on this university and this baseball program long before they got here, and will continue to hopefully love on this program when these kids leave. And I was really proud of what our kids did. In the fall last year, we took a trip to the Dominican. And I don't know if you've ever been to a third world country. This is kind of a baseball / mission trip, if you call it that. And to see my macho players connect, these are girls at an orphanage, 44 girls at this orphanage, was just awesome. Probably the most impactful part of the trip. We put clinics on for kids. We went to feed 2 villages. We brought bags of food, and we did a pool party to mentor kids, and we played baseball. And I tell people all the time, if you go to a church and they're offering mission trip opportunities, I'm telling you, go. For too long, I sat there and I thought, I don't know if I'm really mission trip worthy. You know, we have this image of people who go on mission trips, and I shied away from it for too long. And then finally, about 10 years ago, I went, and it's like getting LASIK surgery, right? If you've had LASIK surgery, you sit up in the chair and there's 2 thoughts. 1, wow, I can see the chart. And then 2, the second thought is, why didn't I do this 10 years ago? I mean, anyone who's had LASIK surgery, that's what goes through your head. And that's what will go through your head if you go on a mission trip. And if you're part of a church and they offer it, I'm telling you, we're all mission worthy. And so what this did was, by serving in a third world country, when we came back, the message to our kids was, guys, there's obviously a fire burning inside of us. Okay. You cannot go on that trip and be human and not have a fire burning inside of you right now. The challenge is to keep the fire burning. And we're going to keep that fire burning right here in this community. And that's where we racked up all that time spent and all those hours giving back to those different organizations. And it was great to help them grow. We had a draft last June, and even without a season, we had 2 first rounders, a 5th rounder, and 2 guys signed free agents. So, a lot of their goals when they come to play at the University of Louisville is to, play at the next level and play pro baseball. And so I was proud of how the draft went. If you're watching the postseason right now, we started with 4 former players in the postseason. 2 of them grew up right here in Louisville. Will Smith, the catcher for the Dodgers, is from KCD, and Adam Duvall, the left fielder for the Braves, is from Butler High School. And even though Chad Green's from Effingham, Illinois, the pitcher for the Yankees, he and his wife bought a house here in Louisville. And so that's what's so cool, when kids come from different parts of the country to go to school here, and then they end up buying a home and settling down because they love the community so much, and the community loves them. So Adam Engel was eliminated with the White Sox, and my Yankees aren't looking too great right now, but we still got 3 guys playing in the postseason, and so we're really proud of them. We aren't allowed to have fans come to our games this fall, but we did have 93.9 pick up our games on the radio, and this was the original schedule. I was telling Laura, we actually moved Saturday's game because of the rain and the hurricane coming through the Gulf Coast, that we're going to play tonight at 6:00 and Friday at 6:00. So 93.9 The Ville, and you can listen to our game, which is really neat, which is fun for the kids. Let me show you this one last video. I'll wrap up. I'll answer some questions because I'm a big Dr. Elko fan. And after you hear this video, I'll explain how you can get his Monday morning cups of inspiration and how I use his messages. And I use that with our team. It's really good stuff.
Hey, everyone. Dr. Kevin Elko here with the Monday morning cup of inspiration. One day, when the Oakland Raiders were at Oakland, a reporter visited the locker room to talk to Kenny Stabler, their quarterback, ex-Crimson Tide quarterback. And the reporter started reading him English prose. He read to him, "I'd rather be ashes than dust. I'd rather that my spark should burn out in a brilliant blaze than it should be stifled by dry rot. I would rather be superb meteor, every atom of me in magnificent glow, than a sleepy, impermanent planet. The proper function of man is to live, not to exist. And I shall not waste my days trying to prolong them. This will be my time and I will use it." He read it to Kenny Stabler, and Kenny Stabler just looked at him. He said, "Kenny, what does that mean to you?" He said, "It means throw deep. Go after it. Go out and win in my life." You know, that's what I want you guys to do. I don't want you to say, "Well, because what's going on, my dreams have shriveled. I'm just waiting. I'm just going to wait to get through this year." No, throw deep. Throw deep. And when you commit to something, angels show up to open doors, to clear pathways. Don't hesitate. Go after it with all you got. And you will find that meetings, people, events will in some mysterious way show up to help you. Throw deep. I really, really am urging you not to hesitate or wait on life. And when you go like that, good comes your way. Doors open up. Robert Morrison was on his way to China to be a missionary. The captain of the ship was skeptical of his dreams, gave him a hard time. Morrison was leaving the ship, and the captain said to him, "I suppose you think you're going to make some kind of impression or difference on China?" Robert Morrison simply replied, "No, sir. I believe God will." See, him and I are in a partnership. Throw deep. Go big. Don't you dummy down your dreams. You're a member of the Cup Nation. Live full, die empty. And when you're committed, not interested, see, the angels aren't going to come and help you to make things right, to open up doors, if you're just interested. They need somebody committed. They can come and just make a way. Make a way. I want you to throw deep. I want you to say that, "I'm throwing deep today." Matter of fact, I want the Cup Nation to come back and say, "Doc, I'm throwing deep." And be committed. And you, God, will be in a partnership. And you'll go bless people. I don't know about you, but I like this one.
And so I spoke to Kroger last week, and I was in the Middletown Kroger, and I had a hat on, I had the mask up, over my nose, and I was walking down the aisle, and somebody, at the time I didn't know who it was. I just heard, "Hey, coach, throw deep." And I looked over my shoulder, and it was one of the store managers at Kroger. And, I tell this to my players all the time. If the stars have to line up for you to have success, you're probably not going to be successful real often. Like, everyone can have success when everything goes their way, when you catch every light, when you catch every break, when you get every call, but life's not like that. And so as Gino Ariama challenged us and Dr. Elko challenged us that, what an opportunity we have. And obviously Kroger really shined during the spring, the summer, and as they get ready for the holiday seasons, which is such a big time for them. And so, it hasn't been the best publicly what's going on in our city and in our state, but I'm a proud American, and I'm proud to live in Louisville, Kentucky, as I imagine many of you are. And we have an opportunity to shine every day. And so, I challenge this group, and as a resident in Middletown, I appreciate what you do. And anything I can do to help, please don't hesitate to ask. As Tracy asked me to jump on this call, and Laura, I appreciate you setting it up. And so let me open it up. And if there's, I know you guys got a lot on your agenda, but if you want to take a few minutes and ask a couple questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
Dan, can you hear me? This is Tracy.
I can.
Hey, sorry, I had trouble signing on, but I just want to say thank you so much for talking to our chamber, and your name just came to mind. I love Dr. Elko, huge fan, and I knew that he had worked with you for years. And I just want to say that as a business leader, to see what you've done with this baseball team and for the city of Louisville and overcoming all the challenges, we're proud of you and thankful to be able to work with you.
Well, thank you. And we love, Julie and I love working with you. And as we talk about, just people with a smile, people with energy, people that want to help, it's nice to work with people that you trust and you like. And as Tracy mentioned, Dr. Elko, you could type in drelko.com. It's ELCO. And you could sign up for a free Monday morning cup of inspiration every Monday. And you'll get an email about 5, 6 a.m. Monday morning. You'll scroll down to about the middle of it. I've had people who've had trouble finding the message because there's advertisements and he's promoting books and all these other things, which are great. But if you scale down to about the middle of it, there's a Monday morning cup, and it's 3 to 6 minutes. Awesome messages. I copy and paste and send them to former players, family members, my boys in college. When they're really good, like this one pertaining to me, I get our video guy to make a video of it. So this was a message that Dr. Elko gave to his 70,000 people who sign on and listen. And I thought, man, I'm going to use that. And so I gave it to our video guy. We added pictures, but just a great way to start off your week. And usually that's a question I get is, how do you get those messages from Dr. Elko? Is there anything else that somebody might have a question? I'll say this. I always use this line too. Sometimes when you lose, you really win. And you don't know that when it's happening, but what our kids, our youth, went through, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to come out and win because of it. And I know it's terrible times and there was a lot of setbacks and lives lost and businesses, man. I hate it for the business owners. And so I hope that you guys stayed afloat. Maybe some thrived. And if you're on this call, hey, you're still alive and hopefully you got a business going and you could bounce back and get it going, because the sun will come up. And we have an opportunity to really make a statement, and you're gonna have a story. As Gino Ariamo said, we're all gonna have a story from this. Does anybody have a question or anything?
Coach McDonnell, this is Laura.
Yep.
We had Dr. Bendaputi that spoke a few months ago on a Zoom call. How has your experience been working with her? And through all of this, I call it the COVID chaos, because I don't know anything else really to call it. I just would like your thoughts on that.
I mean, she's great. You could just tell where her heart is, and her heart is for, these, I say 18 to 22-year-olds, but you could be any age, in college. But, you could tell the diversity, the ethnicity, all the different races on our campus. And you could just see how much she wants to love on these student athletes, all the athletes, but specifically in the athletic world. She's been very supportive of the athletic program. For those that don't know, in the spring, a lot of campuses shut down, and we were one of the few campuses in the country that we shut down, but she didn't make all the students go home. I mean, we have about 35% of our student body that do receive Pell Grant and financial aid. And we have a really a large number of lower income students. And you could always see by her actions, which how much she loves the students at the university. And again, as a coach, that's my job, is to love on my players. And I think when you look around at the successful people, the successful business owners or coaches or managers or whatever, it's all about loving on your people, loving on your employees, loving on your team. And you really can't fool them. You can I can fool someone in recruiting, but once they get here and they live in my program, I can't fool them anymore. And so we try to be very honest and parallel. And when we recruit and we have a message in recruiting, when they show up here, as we say, our actions are louder than our words. And, don't tell me, show me. So I've been inspired by Dr. Bendapudi, and it's challenged us to continue to love on our student athletes.
Okay, I think maybe Dr. Lesser might have had a question for you.
Coach McDonnell, a few years ago, there was a controversial foul ball call that was home run in a playoff game.
Yeah.
What are your, Dave Stone, who I think is a pretty reputable fellow, was there at the game, and he opined that the call was incorrect. Will you comment on that call, and then also how you dealt with it regarding your players?
Yeah, Dr. Lesser's bringing up, it was Cal State Fullerton, game 3, winner goes to Omaha, the loser, the season is over. In extra innings, the player for Cal State Fullerton hit what looked like a foul ball down the left field line. The umpire signaled it was a home run. We had video replay, so I walked out and I thought, okay, video replay should show that it's a foul ball, and for some reason they didn't overturn it. You hear this, it wasn't conclusive or inconclusive is what it was, and we ended up losing the game. And yeah, it was a tough pill to swallow. And I, you only have so much time. You have 10 minutes from the time you lose to the time you're in a press conference. So you have, and in those 10 minutes, you have to, shake the other team's hand, the coaches, you have to talk to your players, you do post-game radio, and you got to get in the press room. And so the NCAA and all the TV cameras are there. And I pray a lot during the postseason, and I'm always praying to God, give me wisdom, like real wisdom, because I don't want to say something I'm going to regret or an action I'm going to regret. And fortunately, I just, I definitely, I never blamed it on the foul ball. I never blamed it on the umpire. I know the umpire very well. I really like him. I never threw him under the bus. We had other opportunities to win that game, and we didn't. But everybody, it's easy in sports. You remember the one play, and that's normal for a fan. As a coach, you remember every play. And I just talked about my faith, and how I leaned on my faith during those challenging times, and really, that group, that was Will Smith, that was Nick Solak, that was Zach Birdie, Nick Birdie. These guys are like in the big leagues now, and so they grew from that adversity, and we picked right up, and you're never going to be immune from those tough times. But as Dr. Lesser was saying, I spoke to Dave Stone, and Dave wanted to just reaffirm that the ball was foul, which I mean, I don't know if it makes you feel better or worse, but at least, it was what we thought it was, because Dave Stone was physically standing down the left field line in foul territory behind the foul pole. And he said it hit like 2 feet from me, Dan. And so, when Dave Stone from Southeast Christian Church says it's foul, well, it's foul, but they didn't change the call. And, it's a life lesson. And hopefully as a program, since that, we're the winningest program in all of college baseball. And so, like I say, sometimes when you lose, you really win.
Hi, guys. How can I help you?
Okay, does anyone else have any other questions for Coach McDonnell?
Coach, I do.
Okay.
How do you motivate your players or a player when that player loses their confidence in their ability?
Yeah, confident. Baseball is such a mental game. So, I have taken so much pride in the world of psychology, mental training. We have a mental training coach, Dr. Vanessa Shannon, who's awesome. And Dr. Elko has been that for me since 2013. So you lean on your experience, and there are some that need to be loved on, and you put their arm around them, and there are others, as we like to say, you need to kick them in the rear, not physically, but as the expression goes, and it's just trying to push the right buttons. And so I always believe if they know you deeply care about them, then you have a chance to break through. But we always say this: you have to be honest. I can pat you on the back and say everything's going to be great, but that's not necessarily sometimes the best thing for you. And so I think when someone is struggling, you try to come down to the reason as to why are they struggling. Okay, and what do we have to do to rectify it? How do we fix this? And where can I relay stories or comparisons? I love using stories. I love talking about other coaches, other programs. I have like no ego when it comes to, I'll talk about UConn women's basketball. I'll talk about Alabama football. I'll talk about the Patriots, and I hate the Patriots. I mean, I'm from New York, so but I respect programs and people who win, and so I will always try to share what they did during a difficult time to come out and be better. And I think lots of times, we're like a mirror, so if we're the negative Nelly, or as we like to call energy vampires in our program, we use the phrase energy vampires a lot in our program. Well, that's what you're going to get. That's what your employees are going to be. If you're always negative and you're always bashing people and you got a frown on your face, I don't know how you expect anything different, because you're a mirror. So, it's about, as we like to say, who got the juice is one of the questions we ask a lot. Who got the juice? Because we want guys with juice. We want what we call lid lifters. We want guys with a smile on their face. And so I always think it starts with us, the leaders, the managers, the teachers, the coaches, because we ultimately set the tone, and they will follow our tone. And so I kind of threw a lot out there to your question, but it always starts with show them how much you care, show them that you're willing to help. And again, sometimes honesty and, as parents know, tough love is the best thing for them sometimes. And that's our job, as managers and leaders because what works for Sally might not work for Bruce, and vice versa. That's the challenge we have.
Thank you.
Great words of wisdom. Dr. Lesser, do you want to?
I had one more question, actually. Coach McDonnell, you talked about praying for wisdom. One of the most difficult, decisions for a coach, at least from my perspective, is how much do you prepare for games? How much do you practice? And where players aren't too tired and yet they're ready. How do you make those kinds of decisions?
Well, experience does help. And, as you've heard the saying, failing to prepare is preparing to fail. So, it's, but, one thing you learn in coaching is you have to be who you are, because kids will see through you if you're fake. You can't try to be somebody else. I can't try to be Nick Saban. Everybody like to be Nick Saban, but I have to be who I am. Now, hopefully I have to be the best of who I am and pull out the best, so it's what was the, I might have got off track a little bit. What was it
Well,
again?
how do you decide how much preparation to,
Oh,
and,
yeah.
you know,
And yes, and I talked about experience because as young coaches, as young leaders, as young business owners, we make mistakes and it's okay, but we probably make mistakes on we push too hard, we work too hard, we practice too hard because it makes us feel better, right? So if you make people show up on a Saturday, you make them work on a weekend, it might make you feel better because you're going, okay, I got them to work on a Saturday or this or that or in an evening. But was that necessarily the best thing for the employee? And that's where, as coaches, we're all guilty of over practicing, overworking, physically breaking them down, mentally breaking them down, where hopefully the older I get, as we talk about the wisdom, I'm confident enough to make decisions to say, you know what, we need off tomorrow. And I need to be comfortable that, well, what if you lose the next day? And what if, someone challenges you and you didn't practice the day before, or gosh, you were hitting golf balls at the driving range and you lost. Like, I have to be comfortable in the decisions I make in my own skin, to, as long as deep down in my heart, I know what I'm doing is best for the program. That's what we have to do. And it's real challenging in this social media world because everybody's going to, the energy vampires are out there. And when I talk, lots of times I talk about Schadenfreude and mudita. And if you want to have higher morale in your company, try to create a company that has Schadenfreude, mudita, because Schadenfreude is the joy in others failing. Now, you could sit there and try to say, well, that's not me. I don't enjoy when others fail. Well, I could probably run down about 10 scenarios to challenge you, and you might go, well, yeah, maybe. Because when you watch the news at night, I don't know what you're watching, but I'm not watching a lot of positive stories on the news. Like Schadenfreude, the joy in other people's misery. That's what the news is. That's what the newspaper is. I hate to say it, but it is. Sports radio is good until something juicy happens, and then boom, those ratings shoot through the roof because people, and we're all guilty. I was guilty as a college player. I didn't want the second baseman in front of me to have success. If he goes 0 for 4 and strikes out 3 times, that might help me. So I was guilty of it, and we're probably all guilty of it somewhere where someone else had success, another store owner had success, another branch had success, and you weren't real happy. But if somebody failed or somebody closed the doors or someone else struggled, you go, oh, okay, they didn't make it, but I still did. That's Schadenfreude. Mudita is the joy in other people's success. And it sounds nice. It's not as easy as it sounds because it's a challenge. But I challenge my backup shortstop when the starting shortstop goes 4 for 4 and makes a great play. Can you find joy in that? Because ultimately, if you need him to fail for you to succeed, you're not going to be real successful. So when you can create an atmosphere of, hey, man, let's celebrate when people do well. Let's celebrate when an employee or somebody does something nice. Hey, let's celebrate when another branch does something special. Let me show my branch how happy I am for that other branch. Now, it doesn't mean I'm not competitive and I don't want to work harder and now I'm going to motivate my group, but I'm not going to celebrate when they fail. I'm going to celebrate when they have success. And again, it goes back to the energy vampire and being a lid lifter. And when you can create this kind of culture, find more joy, more happiness, you'll have more peace and your employees will have more success.
any other questions for Coach McDonnell? Anyone?
Hey, Diane.
Hello?
Tracy,
Coach
is
McDonnell?
there anything else that you would like to say?
Laura, did you say my name? I can't hear you very well.
Yes, I said, is there anything else that you would like to say?
No, but I wish I could book Dan every day to speak to my team. I swear this is amazing. I took away tons, and I love the lid lifter and the energy vampires and everything. It's amazing how, a coach relates so much to a leader of a team and a business. It's all the same thing, and it's all about people. So I just really appreciate you talking to us, Dan. And it's great to hear something different than everything we're seeing on the news. And remember that I think one of the takeaways I took away from you was we need to remember that, we love Louisville, we love Middletown, and we need to speak more of that language. Sometimes we get down on everything going on. And I think if I took away anything, that was one of them.
Well, it starts with us. So you have to take it upon yourself. It starts with you. So you be a shining light, and then the next store owner be a shining light. And before you know it, people are spending time in Middletown and they're going, man, there's something different about the store owners, about the culture, about the vibe. And so I think we have to take it upon ourselves. It starts with us. I mean, we're waiting for a politician to bring us happiness. Come on, that's a waste of time. I'm not knocking politicians, but I'm not waiting for anybody. I'm not going to wait for someone else to bring me joy. I'm going to decide every morning or every night or whenever that is, and I'm going to set the tone and try to get people to follow me. And it doesn't mean that I don't need to follow others. Believe me, I can't do it on my own. But again, I think we can do it as a community. I think we can do it, and we can, we can set the tone for others to follow us.
Great. Well, very, very uplifting and motivational. And Coach, if you're more than welcome to stay on the call with us. I know Dr. Lesser maybe has a couple of things he wants to say before we wrap up this call, but we certainly do appreciate your taking the time out of your busy schedule to speak with us. Tracy, I want to say thank you for making the contact and getting it all set up, and we just really do appreciate it.
Again, thank you. As someone who lives in the community, I love Middletown, and I thank all you for what you do. And if anything I can do to help, please don't hesitate to ask. And thank you, Tracy.
Yeah, I didn't even know that. Yeah, I did not know you lived in Middletown. So I'll have to look for you at Kroger's when I'm up there.
Yeah, I believe me, the Kroger store managers know I love Kroger. My wife's scared to death to send me to Kroger because I enjoy supermarkets, and I'm coming home with a lot more than just milk. So
Same thing.
I love it.
Coach McDonnell, you've given us a lot to think about and an awful lot of substance in your talk. Thank you. And for sure, we're proud of you, and we're going to be rooting for you this season. So go get them, Coach.
Well, thank you very much. Good luck, guys.
Okay,
And
thank
girls,
you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Right, thank you. So the next item on our agenda, Laura, you were going to give us an update on the events we have in the future and what we're working on.
Right. We, of course, are having our Affinity Zoom group calls, our monthly calls, e-commerce and media, nonprofit, housing and hospitality, banking, finance, and insurance, and soon to start will be retail. If you're more than welcome to participate in any of those calls. You don't have to be associated with that certain group or industry to participate in that call. It's all about the networking. So, and then we're doing some additions to the website. We're starting a jobs board, reinitializing the member-to-member discount page. Also, we've had several property owners that have reached out to us that are chamber members regarding space that they have for rent or lease. So we're going to start a tab regarding that also. And looking forward to that. We have started recording the Zoom calls. Thank you, Ron Wolf, for that suggestion at our last board meeting. You will find those on the website as well. I believe it's under the About tab. So this Zoom call will be on there in case you want to go back and re-listen to some of the things that Coach McDonnell said. I wrote down several quotes and inspirational messages that he shared with us. And I thought I'd like to go back and just re-listen to that again. Sometimes it doesn't hurt to hear things 2 or 3 times. I am wanting to hopefully do maybe a food drive for Thanksgiving for our pantries with our nonprofits that are here in the Middletown area, and then maybe do a toy drive also at Christmas. So we're just waiting to get the green light when we can start having events again. When we do, get ready, because we'll be rocking and a rolling. So we've got almost 1 year's worth of energy stored up from not having any events. So I will double the effort. So we're looking forward to it.
And we have cash in our bank account ready to go to support those
that.
events.
We
Right.
did have 4 new members that joined last month. I've already had 1 new member join this month, and I've also gotten a couple of signed permit requests of new businesses that are going into Middletown. So things are starting to move. We're excited about that.
Great. You know, we want to be a resource to our members, but we're not sure. We know some of you have learned from this pandemic and have revised and adapted your businesses to succeed. But we also know that some of our members are hurting. We don't know what your status is. And what we'd like to do is hear from you. If you need something, our board members have tremendous resources. We know a lot of people. We know a lot of ways to help our chamber members if we understand and if we're aware of what you all need. So please reach out to us. Maybe the best way to get in touch with us is through calling the chamber, or actually, Laura, you can. Everybody has your email, right, from this meeting.
Oh, yes.
So maybe the best way to initiate a conversation is by just emailing Laura, and then we'll follow up with you to see what we can do to help you. Okay.
Okay.
Does anybody? How are y'all doing? Does anybody have anything to say about your business or what your needs are, or what we can do? You may not want to speak in public like this, or in this group.
I don't know, but I have to admit, everybody's got some good looking pictures up on their page.
Everybody's still, except for a few of us.
I know it. I would.
Does that mean these pictures are like from 10 years ago, or what does that mean? Dr. Cobbin, good to see you, sir.
I would like to ask Ron Wolf to give everyone an update on the Veterans Parade that will soon be held a month from yesterday. If he can unmute, let me see.
I think he's on. Ron is muted. I don't know, Ron. He might be saying something.
Let's see if I can. Well, he needs to. Let me find him. Here he is. I've asked him to unmute.
Okay. I can give you, while we're waiting, I can give you some update on some industry information regarding COVID-19. And Whitney, we were in a meeting a little bit ago, and I was talking about this with some guests we had over here at Magna. But what's interesting is that people are talking a lot about herd immunity these days. And there's a theory that's being substantiated with more and more evidence that we are actually developing herd immunity because we are wearing masks. Now, the explanation goes like this. A mask inhibits the amount of inoculum you take into your body. So we're getting a lower load of virus. We're absorbing a lower load of virus. So we're not getting as sick, but it's giving our immune systems a chance to build antibodies so that we develop, in essence, immunity. The virus is ubiquitous. For anybody that says we're trying to contain this virus, they might as well say, well, let's contain the common cold. It's not going to happen. It's everywhere. And the best thing we can do is to protect ourselves by wearing masks, and that will enable us to augment the herd immunity in our society. If you want a reference on this, it's Dr. Monica Gandhi, who delivered a very compelling speech on Z-Dog MD. And the title of her talk was "Masks Do More Than Just Protect Us from Getting Sick." They actually help, then she talked about the fact that masks help us develop herd immunity. Another interesting comment I would make, I may have mentioned this before. My daughter is an MD down in South Carolina, and she is a hospitalist. So she actually treats the inpatients who come in with COVID-19. At the Apex back in the, now her hospital is a regional hospital. It treats about 250,000 people. That's the population. At the Apex, they had about 80 patients in intensive care who were, or intensive care or in the hospital who had COVID-19. They now have 7 patients. She said, well, we're likely to go up a little bit, but we're finding that patients are not getting as sick. And it may be due to the fact that we're not getting as much viral load, as individuals. The more virus you take in, the sicker you're going to get. But a couple of other interesting findings here are facts, and these are facts. The observations of the physicians in her regional hospital, and I've heard this from other doctors as well, is that most of the people who are coming into the hospitals, I mean, the 95% plus of the people who are being admitted with COVID-19 have comorbidities. They have other conditions where they're, and you've heard this already, where their immune systems are already compromised. But what you may not know is that if a person dies who has a comorbidity at the time they have COVID-19, that COD, the cause of death, is automatically coded as a COVID-19 death. So just take that information for what it's worth, okay? And then the last thing is that she stated that not only do the patients who come in have comorbidities, but the large majority of people who come in, and I've mentioned this before at a board meeting, and then she just confirmed this again this week. Most of those patients, she said, have obesity issues. So the theory here is that somehow the immune systems are not as strong among people who are not as healthy or maybe who have obesity. So those are interesting facts and observations that might be useful to you as you interpret some of the data and some of the stream of information that we receive on a daily basis. So I don't know if anybody has, did Ron Wolf come back? Ron, are you here?
He just sent me a message that he's having issues with his audio.
Oh, okay. All right. So that was the update on the Veterans Parade, right? Does
Right.
anybody else have?
I will forward a flyer out to everyone that I just received this week regarding an update on the Veterans Parade it's going to be a reverse parade at Southeast Christian Church, and kind of like a drive-through type of thing with the supporters and the units and the different groups that will be there to honor our veterans while folks drive through and wave. And
The reverse parade, I didn't know what that meant when you first sent that out. Does that mean people drive in reverse, or what does that mean exactly?
well, no, it's just instead of the participants standing on the sidewalk per se, and your floats and units and everything going down the road, it's going to be reverse. Okay. So I thought
you're driving around.
So
we're driving around the floats then. Okay.
Right.
They want sponsors as well, right?
Yes, they have asked us to help with sponsorships. So if you would like some information on that, there are sponsorship levels from 500 up to, I think it's 2,500. I'll be happy to send you. And even if you want to donate a different type of amount, let me know that too. I'll be happy to send you the information.
Thank you. Okay, so again, if any of you have needs, we'd like to hear what they are. Please email Laura and then we'll reach out to you. We appreciate you attending this luncheon. We appreciate you being chamber members. We want to support you. We want to help you succeed in life and in your businesses. And we'll do whatever we can to affect those ends, okay? So
and our next call will be November the 12th.
Great. So thank you all, and we look forward to seeing you again. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.